Love has been such an up-in-the-air concept for me. My relationships with people have been so confusing. Enlightening, but also confusing. I've been wrapped up in this magical world of where I have love to give, there's love that will come to me. And that's been taken advantage of. This has led me to dissecting marriage and detachment as concepts. Is it better to not get married because we as humans should learn to embrace detachment anyway? What is marriage really for? If you watch Shira or Mina, you might know a little bit of what I'm getting at, but we'll save that for another video. I kept thinking it was okay that these people were a little lost and confused because I felt that way too. That doesn't make them undeserving of my love. It's more reason to show my love knowing this world can be harsh. Because I know what it feels like to feel like being lost means you're undeserving of love. So I would get in these relationships with these lost people, and every time we'd have a conflict, I'd think, I need to be more understanding, I need to work through this better, I need to do this. Meanwhile, they weren't trying remotely as hard. I noticed these people were excellent at criticizing me and catering to their own fantasies. I was doing all these things trying to get them to feel loved, and they were just waiting for me to be enough just to decide to want to love me. I was very confused about who to let in and who not to. This, I believe, is a different answer for different people. I was trying to take my half of the responsibility in the relationships and say, if I wasn't doing enough, then of course they're going to struggle to take their half and want to love me. So I'm just naturally supposed to be the safe one and let them in. I was stuck on, you can trust or let in anyone because anyone will do right if they're being loved right. And if they aren't, they are just still lost in their hearts. People tell you in a myriad of ways that you just have to be careful in relationships. I felt like I needed more of a how-to, but with everyone being different and humans being complex, that seemed impossible. I finally discovered what I needed to hear was to pay attention to how people feel when you get things right, quote unquote, and when things are good versus when you get something wrong or things are bad. I used to think, well, duh, but it never appeared to be that simple in the actual relationships. I would be with someone who I knew was a caring and loving person. Some were people pleasers themselves. They'd show me attention, they'd talk about what they wanted with me, they'd really enjoy our time together, and when things were bad, I could just see where their choices were coming from, and I'd go and deal with my feelings so I could help both of us heal. But they'd be feeling betrayed, so now I couldn't focus on the fact that they were so utterly unhappy with me unless I was a certain way, because their pain seemed to be of more importance to me. We would have conversations about how when things were hard, we have to work towards both of our feelings in the matter and work together at some point, even if it can't be immediately. And sometimes it just can't be immediately. But because we'd agreed on that when things were okay, we'd get to when things weren't okay, and I'd be holding on to what they said so we could both heal this together, while they worked to understand their feelings in a way that decided I deserved less. It even started to appear that these people were less mad about a careless mistake I made, and more mad at the level of importance I was implying to have in their lives. The idea of my feelings being a priority seemed to appall them. This naturally just threw me into the cycle of trying to prove myself without even realizing it. Not only that, but I realized the people who did this to me, they thought I was so pretty and sweet, and sometimes much happier than them, much more put together than them, much more easygoing than them. They thought I was everything, a fantasy come true, so I had it easy. All I had to do was be the fantasy. And I'm thinking I have to prove that I am, while they proved they could be utterly mediocre. I have a Vedic astrologer that I love, and when we did a reading, she said to me, you literally cannot give yourself to anyone who hasn't shown their love for you is multiplied already. This felt essentially like asking someone to prove themselves to me, which felt unfair because it's the same thing I've been put through. Until I realized there was a very fundamental difference. People would see how I love and decide they wanted more in an attempt to gain power over me and from me, teach me to prove myself. My heart just wants to love and heal myself and others where it's needed, and she has to be kept essentially chained up until someone can be trusted with her. People would rather utilize my unconditional love to feel better about themselves than get confused when they think they can just get rid of me when they've gotten all they could out of me, than to share in my unconditional love to actually do the work to better themselves and be better with me. The whole time I was thinking we deserved each other because we were lost the same way, but the only thing making me feel lost was being surrounded by individuals who are okay with staying lost if it means protecting themselves. And though I understand what it's like to be there, Though they are still deserving of love, I can still deserve better than someone willing to sacrifice me so they can maybe see the worth in themselves. Even now, saying that feels selfish. I always felt meant to save the world with my love. But giving my heart and soul to individuals who don't even see the worth in theirs is literally only holding me back from all the more that my love can do for this world, without me even having to lose myself. For me now, it's about if someone loves you for them or if they love you for you. Do they love you only because they want to? Or do they love you also because you are a person that some of their love is designated for? Do they love you only in the ways they feel like it? Or do they love you in ways that your response to the love, whether negative or positive, matters? Are your responses safe with them? Or do they only make sure you keep a safe space for all of theirs? When they enter a relationship with you, do they do it because of all that you are? Or do they do it because they like what they can see? I'm working on not shaming myself for these experiences because, truthfully, we all play our parts. We all have our responsibilities in every situation we enter into. And shame will do nothing but continue the narrative. If I want better for myself, I know that I have to go get better for myself. I have to think I am deserving of better for myself. People often shame having a good heart, a naive heart, whatever, in order to kickstart you into taking better care of your heart. I don't really do well when I feel like I'm being judged or I feel like I'm being told what to do. I feel like I'm being shamed for what I've done or who I am. It's very hard for me to take in the information as well as I could, because I viewed that as coming from a place of hate, coming from a place of judgment. People call it stupid a lot of the time, like we talked about before, but I realize even talking about it, that in and of itself comes from love. Anyway, thanks for listening to my random rambles. I tried to write out what I had to say this time. So, trying different things and seeing what works. But yeah, thank you so much for listening, and please share with the people you love and share your thoughts with me. See you next time.